Hello and welcome back to another episode of Review Your Death Clips. My name is Feign. I have played quite a bit of World of Warcraft Hardcore. I have leveled every class to level 60, did all of the content including killing KT on both sides, so let's jump right into it and see what kind of death clips we have today. Alright, we're going for the first death. We are following a Reverend in Uldaman. Nasty, a level 60 died in Skolemans, but that's not today's topic. Double Warrior.
Oh yeah, run.
Lock.
Oh yeah, run.
And Hunter.
Well, okay, I was about to say.
Last boss, they're pulling him up.
Hello there.
Oh boy. Okay.
Interesting, he has Holy Well spec'd. These guys are immune to fear.
The door's locked behind us. Are we dead?
No, you can open them.
They said I'm forcing cooldown. I don't have it. I already used it. Who do I hit? I'm hitting the fucking boss.
Down to 60% mana.
Where are you? I can't see them.
Someone writes him Rebozo.
Wait, did they run through the door? I don't know, everybody just fucking dead. Wow. The other guy just fucking had no aggro threat either. I don't know.
Okay, and then insulting the teammates. Okay, there's a lot to learn from it. Number one, as much as it stings that you're dying, there is no reason to insult anyone in that game. Just don't play with them. So they're pulling the last boss, and instead of fighting them in the room, they're essentially pulling them up. This has a couple of advantages. Because the two larger spirits are not respawning, but it has a couple of disadvantages as well, one of which is no really great aggro generation at the beginning, so you kind of fight in a smaller room. So a couple of things that the group could have done better here. Number one, aspect of the pack, because the hunter is higher than level 40, therefore everybody could just move up quicker. This guy here does have his rope bound. I assume it's the epic rope that allows him to freely cast. Once for 15 seconds, spells are massively reduced, so that would be a good option. Let's see his buffs. Has no inner fire up. Does have a pot and stamp food. That's okay, but the lack of inner fire is a bit concerning. And he has full mana. So let's talk about what one can do better. So
Hello there.
this is where the boss is coming into play. They clearly haven't talked beforehand what they should be doing, because elsewise they would be going for the boss and would be focusing him. Boss immediately takes aggro on him. I don't like his UI to begin with, but that's a different story. He does have a Hellstone from the Warlock, he does have a Lip, and he has a couple of other potions. Starts out well with using Renew. Forgets to renew the lock, forgets to renew the lock in a nutshell. And he's playing full Holy Spec with the Vel, which I have not seen. Maybe it's a challenge. It's not as good as the normal Holy Spec. You're typically skipping well, but it's okay. It is what it is. Boss is on him. Here is a perfect time to fade. A little bit earlier than that, actually. Warrior tries to get to him, gets dazed. He doesn't realize that and is kiting around the pillar. He didn't even have aggro, it was the Warlock. Okay. The Hunter, sorry. And Hunter now Feign Death. Okay. Is casting way too little spells. Should be renewing whilst he is running. This here is kind of 3 seconds. Could have renewed the lock, could have renewed the hunter, new renew on the tank, which would be mana efficient. So we're looking at 2 warriors that only one of them does have a renew. He shielded himself, which I wouldn't. I do understand what he's trying to do. He wants to give himself an extra hit point buffer. The problem is that even if you did not take any damage, that shield will generate 1,000. Well, it's not that high at this point in the game. Whatever the value of the shield is, he doesn't have a weak aura for it. I assume it's kind of around 600 hit points, so 600 threat divided by all of the enemies here. So it's extra threat where you don't necessarily need to create threat. Instead, just renew both of them. And also, if you're not getting hit, shields are very, very expensive. So several of the smaller enemies are coming to him. Correct play here would be to fade. Fade is already on cooldown. The fear doesn't do anything. The lack of inner focus, however, will bite him in the rear now. So those small ones are actually kind of even level to him, and he could withstand them for a while if he had inner focus. The warriors are focusing on the Vault Warder, the bigger guardians, and the small ones are essentially not in their focus. The right play here is move to the tank and renew yourself, put inner focus up, and then basically fade so that they will go over to the tank. Fear, complete waste of mana, and he's now starting to panic. Warrior goes into Bercy stance, intercepts. That costs a lot of rage, and is trying to peel for him. Shouldn't focus on the door really. He should focus on the actual fight. He re-shields himself. That creates even more threat. Incorrect play. He has no conceptualization of threat, at least from what it looks like. Since these guys can't be feared, this here is also futile. He should stay next to the warrior and wait until fate is coming up. What he's doing is not helping. He still has 2 of them on him. Alright, so that's the first intelligent play that I've seen for a while. He used a lip, therefore basically getting removed from the aggro table, but it's quite late. You can already see he's down to 25%. His mana is also dwindling, and he's now forced to flash heal. This is a situation that you never want to see yourself in, that you basically just start spamming flash heal. And my logic as a healer is, if you find yourself in a situation where you need to extend quite a bit of resource, specifically as a priest, to keep up with the healing, then there is a good chance that you haven't done your job in the times where the pull was slower. He could have just put himself and both of the warriors with a renew, and that would make his whole situation now much more simple. He does have multiple seconds left over, so he could with lip just greater heal himself, 2 renews, everything is fine, and he could kind of move over to here while still playing with the renews. Somehow they don't get the warder under control. We're also seeing that, I assume this is, yep, the warlock has now taken aggro from both of them. He's trying to use more healing. A lot of movement without using global cooldown. So here's the thing, like in those clutch situations, the most precious resource is global cooldown. Whenever you cast something, your mind should be, what is the next ability that I'm going to use? And the correct play here, I wouldn't go for Desperate Prayer because he would rip aggro immediately. It's actually just renewing and keeping people alive. His mana is pretty low. He does he have Desperate Prayer on the bar? No, he hasn't specced into that. Maybe rope into AoE heal. and then Fate right afterwards could be a play.
Hitting the
Oh, he has also already used the rope. My bad. That's nasty. Well, they are getting... Let's take a look at the enemies. He does have no more potion cooldown. So his mana potions is effectively gone at the moment when he lipped. I would have still done the lip because otherwise he would have already died. At this point we have a bit of a lose-lose situation. The Warlock is panicking because he's getting trained by the Hell Shapers. The Warriors are not AoE taunting, which they should in this position. And he just doesn't know what to do. He's now getting aggro from the Vault Warder, and yeah, at this point he's dead. The spirit will still exist for a while. That's interesting. There was an interesting little thing. Look at this. I'm casting Heartstone, is what Alaskans is saying, and he then is essentially Alt F4s. No, he's not Alt F4ing, he's still casting Heartstone. Look at that. He's still casting Heartstone, leaving the other warrior with all of the aggro. Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, I can understand the frustration. And someone else is taunting him afterwards. Listen, as much as he has a point with the warrior's threat being abysmal, this is another... the lessons here are simple. Number one, use your global cooldowns better. He could have done a lot more with that. Number two, you are in Discord with people that you're doing dungeons with, or specifically as a healer, there's a huge advantage with that. And the old saying goes, if the healer dies, it's a tank fault. If the tank dies, it's the healer's fault. And if the DPS dies, it's typically their fault. And this kind of holds true again. Alright, long review for the first one. Let's speed up the other two. Alright, second death is coming from Hillbrad for Mugrets. Okay.
Get them all.
Ooh.
I need these guys to reset. Nice, they did. Nope, one of them did. Now one more something. We out. Oh my god. Chill, 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 chill. I'm dead!
Okay, wow. Level 24 Druid, having a hard time here. Alright, let's talk a little bit about leashing, shall we? So level 24 Druid comes in, sees 3 mobs of the same level, and let's first of all start with leashing. The center point of all of the 3 is within that building. Depending on your level and their level, and the difference between that, they will follow you for a longer period of time. Every time you do something that either deals damage to them, heal yourself, or interact with them, the leash will extend, kind of to a maximum, at which point the guys are going to turn around. Second thing that you should know about leashing is, if you pull them up and others socially aggro because they are his friend, then all 3 are combined in a single leash, and there is no way of breaking that pair up without all of them resetting. However, if you throw a grenade that basically hits all 3 of them, then they are individually leashed to you, and you can then deal damage to one of them or fairy fire one of them, and basically extend the leash of a single enemy without extending the other. So that's the start here. Let's talk about this guy. What can you improve? How can you survive that? So there's quite a bit that he can improve. For starters, the setup of the UI, specifically the fact that he isn't binding any of the potions, is a terrible mistake. I'm not seeing a self-found buff for him, so at this point running around with basically level 3 potions as a melee character is asking for trouble. This is completely and utterly unacceptable. At level 21, you could have the normal healing potions, or greater healing potions is what they are called, which heal, if I recall correctly, 400 to 600. So that would be more than half of his health, maybe even a little bit more than that. They're actually quite potent. So he should have a stack, or better 2 stacks of those, because they last until 35, where you get superior heal potion. That's number one. Big mistake here. I appreciate the idea of having bandages, but the class that you're playing is not very first aid heavy, so he might be leveling it. It's okay, not a big problem. What I'm seeing is almost no proper shape changing on the bars. He does have cat at the moment, he does have bear, he doesn't have travel form yet. Maybe he hasn't done the quest yet. 24 should have already gotten him that, if I'm not mistaken, around level 20. Let me look that up actually. Alright, I stand corrected. The travel form is level 30. Does matter for the point. He still does have cat form, and cat form with feral spec that he is has 30% movement speed, unless he misspec'd. Okay, so there are already issues on his setup here. He does not have Warstomp bound. Okay, now he's going in without Mark of the Wild. He's going in without Thorns. He knows he's up for a triple pull. He does not pre-hot himself, has full mana, which is a bit of a problem as well. So all of that is already wrong, and you might say, you know what, Syken, what's the big deal? Well, there is actually quite a big deal, because if he wants to fight this out, then the right thing to do is to pre-hot yourself, maybe start pulling the farmer and then letting the others come in, demo shout, and then swipe, which he has on too, and that should get you pretty far actually. Or you rake farmer Gretz down as far as you can, and then essentially war stomp into a heal. Now he tries to get all 3 of them, no demo shout whatsoever. At this point he's kind of out of the building where he pulled, which was here. I see no meaningful damage, like they are still at 80% while C is at 50%. He has plenty of rage, which tells me he has been hit a lot of times, and he stays, which tells me that he has been moving with the back to them. If he would have just backpedaled, he would have potentially had a better outcome like that. Again, there is no demo shout on them. He does have frenzied regeneration, which could help him, and he's now continuously hitting them since they are triple leashed because of social aggro as a pack. He cannot get rid of them individually. He does have Nature's Grasp, which tells me he's not like fully gone into the feral tree, but a couple of points into Resto. And this here is a fantastic spell that he should have put up earlier, because it would have basically rooted one of them right here when he started being outdoor, and then he would have just been able to kill the other 2. Again, not doing anything here with all of his time. He's moving forward and then periodically kind of jumping. Next mistake that the guy is not doing is there are so-called power shifting macros, which basically means you're creating a macro where you're casting the ability without the ability of going, for instance, into bear form without leaving bear form. So it's immediately from bear to bear, which you normally can't do when you're just clicking the stuff like he's doing. You can combine that with healing potions, where essentially you are creating a macro which says drink healing potion, and then power shift. Since healing potion is not on global cooldown, you are immediately drinking and immediately shifting. There is like a fraction of a second, not enough typically to cause any problem where you're out of form, but you can even do that in dungeons, level 60 dungeons, that is without causing problems. So in his situation, Had he followed the logic that I was saying, he wouldn't have even needed any help, because he would have simply killed all three. But now in this situation, had he been buffed properly, and if he had done his homework and gotten the right macros, he could have just drank like a higher healing potion, getting to full mana, to full hit points, and still win the fight. Like, this is the crazy thing about it. Also, still frenzied regeneration. Now this is where it becomes hilariously bad. He has 50 rage, which with frenzied regeneration still would be a little bit over 500 hit points. He could just hit that and continue to move until the rage is empty, and kite them. Instead, he decides to Warstorm. He loses over 50 rage. This is a massive deal. It's just bad. And he's still full mana at this point. He gets redazed. He then manually clicks a healing potion instead of the speed potion that he could use. Speed potion, and then use the global cooldown to heal yourself. And once the speed potion is done, you're shifting into cat form, which, mind you, he could still do. Farmer, of course, is faster than him, and then he gets run down. So this comes all down to execution. Like, he's a beginner player. I'm not going to be too hard on him, but this clearly has not been a good attempt. All right, last death of today comes from Dulepie Turn.
Nei. Aldri i verden om han ikke kommer tilbake.
7, 6, 5. Nei! Han døde.
Okay, well, that is unfortunate.
Nei.
Good. Let's break that down. I needed a quick death at the end anyways to not make the episode too long. So here's a public service announcement. Feign death actually kills you if you're letting it run out, and you can't just let it run out to 1 second. As you can see, it can kill you at sub 10 seconds. So when the hunter feign death is, there's a 5-minute timer. He's basically holding his breath, and once that timer is over, he is going to die. And if you go AFK during that period, then you come back, your character will be dead. We had a situation with that, so learning effect here is obvious. Don't do it because it's a stupid idea. Be diligent with what you're doing whenever you need to go AFK, period. Whenever, whether that's in the middle of a dungeon or somewhere inconvenient, maybe not inside of a cave. There I would rather hardstone out. But whenever you need to go AFK, log out. It's that simple. Never leave the computer on hardcore without you being fully logged out. And that is the tip that summarizes all of this. But I do have a funny war story around that as well, because we had that very situation. It was actually a sad one, where we were raiding with one of my guilds, and a particular individual lost their warrior in the raid, was super depressed with that, and basically now needed to go to his alt, which was a hunter at that period of time, and locked into, it was in front of Dire Mall North, locked there because he wanted to get buffs. He then feigned death in front of DMT, and because he was so depressed from the other death of his character, he basically decided to take his dog for a walk and go AFK. So he was in a raid group with everybody, and we basically saw that he was feigned death. He didn't reply on Discord, and his friend, real life friend, said, well, he's AFK and can't reach him. And we were thinking about how to basically break up the situation. And besides him getting like real life phone calls and hundreds of pings, ready checks, Discord messages, yada yada yada, soundboard plays, it was obvious he was not at the PC. So I came up with that idea. There is a trinket which is called the something flute, drops from Hearthmaster Glen in Strat living. He's one of the ghost NPCs there. It's a rare trinket, and it is just really to annoy others. Out of combat, you can play the flute, and then everybody in the raid begins to dance, and in waves people are forced to dance. So I thought about, you know what, maybe, just maybe, if someone has the flute, you can summon that person, put him in the raid, just like the hunter is, summon that person to Dire Maul, and basically play the flute, which then will force the hunter to also dance, coming out of feign death because he's out of combat, and basically breaking the feign death because you can't duel him, you can't forcefully eject him without kind of crashing the zone, and all of that would be against terms of services. So long-winded way, we've found someone with a flute, and even wanted to summon them there. And then found out that the flute doesn't really break feign death. So he died on a second character at the same day. Unfortunately, no happy end, but still a cool story. Thanks a lot for watching, guys, and see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.